Hey, what is up guys, I'm KBHD here, and there's an interesting little battle heating up this holiday season. I say little because it's maybe not the most important of all the sales in terms of volume, but it's definitely worth looking at. It's the battle of the low-cost, pure Android smartphones. This time around, it's the Nexus 5 for $350, 16 gigs off contract, black or white, or the Moto X, $350, 16 gigs off contract, in any color customized. This is a Cyber Monday sale, and it's one of many Cyber Monday and Black Friday sales that I'll be tweeting out on Twitter. So if you want to follow me there, just check out those. That's where I'll be sharing them all. But at this point, for that price, which way do you go? All right, so if you want the full breakdown of all the pros and cons of each of these smartphones and what it's like to basically use one or the other as your daily driver, I'll have my full review to both of them right below that like button. So there will be a link to a video you can check out to get a better sense of what it's actually like to use each of the phones. But to break things down and sort of make it simpler, the pros and cons list to each of these devices is actually remarkably similar. On the pro side, both of these are really nice devices to hold in the hand. They're a nice size, but hands down the better feeling device and better ergonomics device goes to the Moto X. This is just an area where Motorola spent a ton of time and energy in design to figure out exactly how they should make a device curved like this, and it has some really interesting curves. They look cool, it looks cool on a table, it feels good in the hand when you're holding it up to your face to make a call, all types of different usage scenarios. It just feels better holding the Moto X. And it's also a bit more compact. The bezels are so small that if you're moving from something like an iPhone, this only feels a tiny bit bigger than the iPhone, which could make it a first-time recommendation for a lot of people moving from an iPhone to an Android phone for the first time. This is definitely the form factor that I would recommend. Now, I happen to be a huge fan of the Stormtrooper Nexus 5, maybe that's just me, but there's also the customization factor that again puts the Moto X ahead. You can go through Moto Maker, and apparently with this Black Friday deal, you'll be able to get a totally customized Moto X for $350. So the Nexus 5, as we already know, only comes in black or white, and I made a video just comparing the designs of these two. Maybe that's not a bad thing at all. You could go with black or white if you want. But with the Nexus 5, you can pick from a whole range of a rainbow of different colors, of the different backs, the different accent colors, the different fronts, and the custom accessories, and even an engraving on the back. And the best part of this actually is if you order a Moto X and a Nexus 5 today, you'll get the custom Moto X first. That's how much it's not delaying the shipping process at all. Now, the Nexus 5 has advantages on paper in the hardware or physical specs department. So you're going to get much better numbers on paper with the Nexus 5. Basically what I'm saying here is you get a quad-core Snapdragon 800 processor in here, which is way more powerful than in the Moto X. And you also get a much bigger, brighter 5-inch 1080p display, which is much brighter and much higher resolution and bigger than the Moto X. So you're going to get higher end specs if you choose to go with the Nexus 5. And that also gives you a slightly bigger chassis. It's just a tiny bit thicker and overall a little bit taller and wider, and it's a bigger device to use, which brings us to the battery. Conveniently, one of the biggest cons to both the Nexus 5 and the Moto X is the battery. Now, if you just look at the pure numbers, a slightly bigger chassis on the Nexus 5 will give it a bigger battery, 2,300 milliamp hours, while the Moto X will give you a 2,200 milliamp hour battery. Now, if you stop right there, you might think, oh, the battery life will be pretty similar, nothing too big to worry about here. But if you keep looking further deeper into it, you'll see the Nexus 5 has a much larger, much brighter, higher resolution display. It has very different specs on the inside. And a big part of it is the Moto X has an AMOLED display, and an active notification system takes big advantage in that. And you get the Moto X8 chip, and that computing system, as I talked about in the full review, takes, again, a whole bunch of more physical optimization into the battery life. So you're going to get substantially better battery life on the Moto X than you are on the Nexus 5. Now, the numbers in the full review will give you a better idea of whether or not you can deal with the battery life of the Nexus 5, but I actually went ahead and picked up the wireless charger from the Google Play Store, the official one, which has a magnet in the back that helps, I guess, ease my range anxiety and lets me charge in way more places. But not everyone's going to be willing to spend the $50 to go ahead and do that. Anyway, another thing on the con side of both of these devices is the cameras on the backs. Both of them, comparatively speaking, have weaker cameras. But actually, since my review video of the Moto X, it's gotten a pretty substantial update to the camera software, and they've actually moved the camera app to the Google Play Store. So now they can continually update that quickly and timely and with plenty of updates through the Play Store, which is really nice. So everyone's Moto X will have the updated camera software, but essentially the big difference here is going to be between the speed and the quality of the camera versus the Nexus 5 and the Moto X. The speed is way better on the Moto X camera. You can take faster shots. The delay in time between when you tap to take a picture and actually take the picture is way smaller. You have faster shutter speeds. It's just an overall faster camera on the Moto X. But in terms of quality, the quality department is going to go to the Nexus 5. It's going to take better photos and videos in terms of quality, especially videos. It's still passable quality on the Moto X camera right now. It's not miserable or anything anymore, but it's definitely, you know, when you compare it to other more expensive $600-700 devices, both of these you will see have obviously made a trade-off to save on price, and that shows. But yeah, other than that, Google and Motorola are technically one and the same basically as a company right now, so the actual experience of using these two devices is going to be very similar. But since the Nexus is a Nexus and it's the actual flagship for Android's newest version, and the Moto X is just a quick half step behind, but it's getting very quick updates right now, you're going to have a couple of software advantages to using a Nexus 5. They both, like I said, have Android 4.4 KitKat, but you're going to have some things like the exclusive Google Experience Launcher. You're going to have, you know, a slightly better performance overall in terms of smoothness on the Nexus 5 for sure, and you'll be first in line for Android 4.4.1 or whatever the next version of Android is. I'm sure you'll get it first on a Nexus if you're into that. So bottom line, when you're weighing the pros and cons, it's up to you. And well, let me know in the comment section below which one you would rather pick up this holiday season for that $350 price tag. I kind of already made my decision. I still love recommending the Moto X to people because it's a great first Android phone for sure. It's also going to come down to availability because, well, this is only sold in the Google Play Store and in the areas where you can buy things from Google Play, whereas the Moto X is supported in way more areas and on an additional carrier. There's a Verizon version, so that's a thing. But yeah, there's definitely differences and similarities that you're going to want to weigh to make your decision. Either way, this Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all the days in between, I'm going to be tweeting out the best deals, essentially, that I find all over the internet in tech. So if you want to see that stuff, camera gear, video gear, smartphones, tablets, TVs, basically anything that I find, be sure to follow me on Twitter. I'll have a link right below. It's at MKBHD. Check that out. Also, I'm wearing an Overworked shirt right now because his new EP dropped today. That will be linked below. Check that out. The description below is basically a gold mine right now. Either way, I'm done. Thanks for watching this video comparison, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Happy holidays. Peace.